So my name is Amanda Alders, and I've been working on the Art and Addiction Project for about 3 years. And I started working on the Art and Addiction Project with Johns Hopkins University. At a national conference for art therapy, I saw a flyer for a call to art, and the call to art was on the theme of substance abuse recovery and addiction, sponsored by Pat Santora and Margaret Dowell, and they were doing a book project funded by Johns Hopkins. So artwork got submitted, and the purpose is to educate the community about substance abuse and addiction in a way that's compassion focused, and that's a way that can address addiction as a community as a whole without any blame or without isolating the community, but rather bringing the community together and putting a human face on addiction. Some of the contacts through FSU and through Johns Hopkins have been collaborating together. And we here at FSU developed a curriculum guidebook through a committee, and that guidebook was distributed to K-12 schools. But then later that guidebook was taken by Pat Santora, who worked previously at Johns Hopkins, spearheaded the Visual Arts and Addiction book, and now she works at the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. And now the guidebook is being used by grantees, 17 grantees, as a pilot program initiative to evaluate the effectiveness of using the arts to educate and to prevent or help individuals recover from substance abuse. This particular grant through SAMHSA will work with teenage mothers who have experienced addictions. It's a very exciting project, one that has snowballed and really grown. And each of the artists who were sent the original guidebook, who were involved in the book, Visual Art and Addiction by Johns Hopkins, several of them have put on art shows in their area, and so it's growing throughout the U.S. So it's not only an initiative here, but it's one that is spiderwebbed throughout the U.S. and one that's a growing initiative in order to evaluate the effectiveness of using the arts, because DARE programs focus on discussing repercussions to addiction, jail time, health impediments, and children often feel fearful for their parents or ostracized if they have family members who have experienced addictions, whereas the arts are a way to non-confrontationally address what might be going on while creating a compassionate sentiment.
I'm Laura Thompson, and I'm co-coordinator of the galleries at TCC Community College in Tallahassee. We worked with FSU, with Amanda Alders and Vicki Wilder, and a committee from FSU that included art therapists and art educators to put together a show for K through 12 at the community college, and we had a wonderful response from the teachers, and the students did phenomenal work that expressed addiction at the high school level and on a personal level. Middle school work was very sophisticated, and the understanding was beyond what we thought that they comprehended.
I'm a graduate from the University Ozarks in Clarksville, Arkansas, and putting together my senior exhibition, we had to develop a theme, and my theme was moral consumption. And so my entire exhibition dealt with different types of consumption in human nature. And the way I tied that together through a visual metaphor was depicting people as food, because people consume food, but people also consume each other. in ways that people don't see with their eyes. And when I started this piece, I did this in December of 2009, and it's called Unspecial: Memoirs of a Womanizer. And as you can see, clearly the heads are lined up like ice cream cones, and so it is pretty much a visual representation of how some people have sex addictions, literally. And I think blue is symbolic for almost like doom and gloom. It's cold. It's kind of like it's a cold-hearted situation. So that's why it was important to me to push the blue and the black. And when people think of black and blue, you almost think of bruises. So there's like a lot of emotional bruises associated with a situation like this.
My name is Hannah Gavigan, and I'm a detox nurse from Sarasota. My painting this evening is Moth to a Flame. It's an oil abstract, and what really gave me inspiration about Moth to a Flame is the seduction of addiction. I work in co-occurring diagnosis, and part of that is addictions, part of it's psychiatric, and in that field I work with 100 clients, and then I also work in a detox center, and I see the same people over and over again come through detox. And I just wanted to help them, and I wanted to make them realize that there's just a simple message, and the message really is, it's about love, and it's about making others happy and making yourself happy and finding peace within yourself and finding peace within the world.
Is called Before and After. I took it in 2010, right before the art show, actually for the art show. I did this one to kind of show the before and after of what happens to an addict. I've had a lot of friends who have been addicts. I've had addiction in my family, and it's affected me, and I've seen what they looked like before they became addicts, when they became addicts, and after recovery, and they always turn back to their beautiful selves. So I wanted to show the before, the after, and the recovery process. You know, that you turn from this beautiful girl and you get lost into this phase of addiction, and then finally when you find yourself, you become who you truly are meant to be. Well, my work and everybody else's work, I think there's an epidemic. I think that there are a lot of people addicted not just to street drugs. I think they're addicted to alcohol. I think they're addicted to prescription pills, and I think it's important to relay a message that this is something that's taking lives, taking young lives, taking old lives, taking every kind of life there is, and we're losing people to something that we can fight, that you can come back from, that there is a recovery process. It's not just the addiction. It doesn't just end there. There are people who come back from this and create beautiful lives, and it's important for people to know not to give up, not to fall into addiction, and to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for addicts.
Hi, my name is Joan Mady. I'm a Florida State University graduate, class of '73, art department here, and I've been making art since I was very little. Was very much a therapeutic outlet for me as a little kid, because my parents were fighting a lot. Alcoholic dad, and you know, whenever they're fighting, I just grab my little piece of paper and start working on the world I wanted, you know. This one is supposed to be sort of the same character, you know, and the choices you make in life, of course. But I love the little face on this guy. You know, he's just he's content, you know. He doesn't have anything, but he's content to sit there and share his little French fry with the sparrow, you know, that's in the park. And he's fascinated by another being. That's the whole point of this. He's still has a sense of wonder, and he's fascinated by another being, and he's not caught up in himself or in self-pity, you know. Whereas the same guy could be under that park bench and you know, covering up his pain with drug addiction, you know, sort of trying to suppress and smother the feelings that he doesn't like having. And he can end up like this, you know, that his hand is out for a handout to keep his addiction going, whereas the other guy, equally as destitute, who has some self-confidence and some sense of wonder, will probably be okay.
Hi, I'm Donnelly Pond Koenig. I'm a graduate of Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York with a BFA degree and have been drawing since I was like 3 years old. So drawing is very, very much a part of my whole existence. This particular piece came from a series of work called Inner Space and Soul, which had to do with women's issues, eating disorders, different kinds of addictions, different kinds of abuse, different kinds of support, and that's where this piece came in to deal with the alcoholism and the addiction problem. There tends to be a need so great for support to other people of the same situation, and this is 3 women supporting each other, and it's in the format of the A for Alcoholics Anonymous, and I wrote the prayer that goes along that they say at every meeting, and it's a very practical prayer that I incorporated into this piece. It's done with only colored pencils and pencil. There's no paint in there at all, and different textures, and then this is handmade paper that I made myself. I had a lot of trauma in my life and a lot of addiction problems in my family, and it's very isolating and very difficult to grow up in that situation. And it also has to do with my daughter. She had an eating disorder, so it had to do with going through that, which is also like an addiction. And so those 2 elements definitely influence this body of work. And I just think art is a wonderful way for people to come and visually see this, because the public is seeing it. It's not just only alcoholics or only drug addicts. It's just normal public, and they can say, my, I never thought of it that way. You know, I never thought they felt that horrible feeling. So I think the art is very important.